to hear something funny? You know, the nWo angle. You know, that was obviously one of the biggest moments in wrestling over the last 25 years.
Was it?
Easily. Oh, yeah, come on. nWo.
It's so dated now when you see it and you see them come out in the music and the fanny packs. It's so dated, isn't it?
It is, but I remember when they first did it. Lucy. That was fucking awesome. Now, my point is that, you know, we as wrestling fans got to witness it on television. So for the people that actually worked for WCW at the time, you know, to be part of that history is something, you know, beyond memorable. You probably remember the days, the moments of every little thing that you were going to do. Right. Unless your name is Larry Zbysko, of course, because Larry Zbysko actually... now, I believe him when he says that he tweaked the nWo invasion angle a little bit, but I found it funny that he seemed to have forgotten everything about it. Check this out. It's only like a minute, but it's the dead air for about 5 seconds is brilliant. Check this out.
It was kind of an interesting thing. Ted Turner, for some reason, whatever, decided he was going to release enough money. He wanted a Monday night show. So Off Night Nitro began. And to make it big, it was actually the AWA idea that they used. It was an invasion idea. Only Ted released enough money where we could bring in guys like Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac, and basically
X-Pac.
We did. And what I did is I'll pat myself on the back for this, but I didn't think of the whole thing. It was already kind of a set idea, the old invasion angle. But I fine-tuned it because the way they had it set up, it wasn't good.
Now, Kev, he fine-tuned it. Now, he's patting himself on the back. Now, if you tweak something that was one of the biggest things in wrestling history of the last 25 years, you would sort of remember, you know, what you were tweaking, correct?
Yeah, but you know what I'm also learning is that this interview sounds a lot like Mike Graham, which sounds like a lot like Kevin Sullivan, sounds a lot like J.J. Dillon, which all these guys take credit for the nWo. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
They all take credit. Every one of them. This is the same interview. It sounds like Mike Graham with a different vocal tone.
I give credit to MLW Radio for actually hitting them with this question. Check this out.
What was the original concept?
Well, the original idea basically was Scott Hall was supposed to be sitting in the audience, and the camera was going to like go on him, and I don't even remember what they had planned after that because that was so stupid.
I don't remember anything else. Yeah, he was sitting there crowded. That's all.
You know what the title of this show should be tonight, guys? Yeah. Alzheimer's is a hell of a drug.
Wrestlers should wear helmets.
But I'm a huge Larry Zbysko fan. I've said it on the show many times. But I laugh when he talks now because when he talks, it's like, honey, I have to go to the store and I got to get some paper towels. Should I buy Scott or should I get Kleenex? Like he can't just talk like straight through. He's got to contemplate what he's going to say in his next sentence. Boy. Got another clip. If you want to get him out of the way, he actually, we know about Chris Jericho, because he was calling himself the living legend, that Larry Zbysko was very pissed off at that. And I think he even didn't he try to sue WWE or something?
He did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they asked him, why does he dislike Chris Jericho so much? And instead of saying all that, he says this.
Now, this fan wants to know, there's been words said in books and on the internet back and forth between you and Chris Jericho, and they want to kind of get some details on that. And your thoughts on Chris Jericho, where did this beef kind of stem from?
Well, Jericho's a unique, lucky individual. He was one of the guys that were in WCW trying their best to get a break. And I remember, I'll give you an example. One time, I'm doing broadcasting, And in those days, you got to remember, and I mean, we got a bunch of new guys. We got Eddie Guerrero. We got Dean Malenko. We got Perry Saturn. We got Jericho. And there's probably some other ones. And they were all, good young talents, dying to become a star. But in those days, who were the stars? Who were these guys wrestling? Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, Sid Vicious. They're wrestling guys that are all 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds. I'm doing the broadcasting, and then I got one producer in my ear going, "Don't forget to say how Sid Vicious is towering over Dean Malenko and Jericho," and he's like, I don't know, right? So I'm sitting there in catering one day, and I'm eating lunch, and here comes 5 or 6 of them. Here comes Eddie, Malenko, Jericho, Saturn, someone else. And they come up to me, and they kind of surround the table, and I'm eating. I look at them, and I went, "Well, thanks for letting me finish dinner, guys." And one of them says, we... And the bottom line was that they were kind of like asking me very nice and polite if there's ways I could, make them sound really great when I did the broadcasting. And I told them, I said, yeah, I would. And I kind of explained, but again, you've got guys, trying to be stars.
Who in that group was the most vocal when they confronted you?
I think it was Dean, because Dean was the guy that was wrestling Sid Vicious, when I made some statements putting over Sid, how he towered over this kid. But that's what the truck was telling me to say.
Right.
And then that night, when I did Nitro, Dean was wrestling somebody, and I said, "Dean Malenko, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world." And then that night, they were all happy and smiling. And then when you get to Jericho, he was in that same group. And again, you've got to remember, here's Jericho. Actually, according to some friends of mine, I'm not going to mention their names because they're working there now. You're saying, yeah, Jericho, he's okay, kind of clumsy. He does that thing off the ropes where he springs and has no idea. He might land on your knee. He might land on your face. He might land, Jericho just has that look like Vince likes. He's a good-looking guy, but...
He looks like a Bon Jovi knockoff porn star, kind of.
Like a lot of this so-called new wrestlers. But Jericho was just...
Ooh.
He rattles on and on and on, and he never tells us, why is he got all this hatred for Jericho?
Does he understand how goofy he sounds? Like, he's not even conducting an interview. It's kind of like he's recalling thoughts in his own head to himself, and people just happen to be around with microphones.
Yeah.
It's really kind of sad. Like, is he suffering from Alzheimer's?
Well, at least Jericho will be back this coming Monday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. To Kev's enjoyment.
Is he performing on Raw?
I don't think
Because it looked
so.
like they were focusing on his Fozzy career as opposed to Chris Jericho, the wrestler, or the dancer, or the comedian.
No, you know what I think it is? I think because Jericho very soon is going to be leaving for Fozzy tours, that they have to start. Right now, they're transitioning Chris Jericho, the wrestling return, to Chris Jericho, the performer that's wrestling. And then a little bit later on, it'll transition.
They sent him out to get a chest.
Well, for his age, I think he's in phenomenal shape.
I can't stand Chris Jericho. I wouldn't mind if he left wrestling forever. So he fooled the metal community into thinking he had a band that was halfway decent.
He's not bad.
Didn't fool me.
Now I sound like Larry Zbysko. He's not
Horrible.
bad. He's not bad.
Horrible. Overrated, horrible, clumsy. I agree with Zbysko with that.
Well, guess what,
An oaf.
everybody? Randy Orton